Okay, cool. Um, let's see if we can do this. Okay, so let me begin with my slide. All right. Confirm that you can see my slide. Hello, everyone. My name is Yenka. I am a dev advocate at them. I'm just, building concern. So what we're going to be talking about today is I'm going to show you how to build lightning fast websites with FLEEK. We'll be going over a quick introduction of what FLEEK is and just telling you about static websites and how to build static websites, decentralized web networks, deploying a site, and talking about decentralized deployment as well. So how exactly does the web work? So what you see here, the very first slide is a blank page of your web browser. Whenever you open up your web browser, it is blank. And then you can either put an IP address or a URL. We could say google.com because every single IP address, every single URL resolves to an IP address either way. So click on enter, assuming you have an active internet connection. That address makes a connection to a TCP protocol. So when that TCP protocol is established, it receives whatever is on the server. So google.com sends that to the server. It takes that request, it receives the request as a HTTP request, converts that to your web page, and sends that back to your browser. That is like a quick summary of how the web works. So a request is made and a response is received, and you get to receive that response on your web browser. Quick summary, quick overview. It is primarily what you need to know at the meat of the matter. So now, what exactly are static websites of displaying the same information for all users without dynamic changes based on users' interactions or data input? So a static website is a simple blog, portfolio, brochure, documentation website. So anything beyond that becomes more dynamic. So dynamic websites go from things like social media, products, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Those are dynamic because interactions are happening in real time, and you do not need to reload the web page or hover your mouse for anything to happen. Static website is plain, it is static, nothing crazy is happening. Dynamic websites are the exact opposites. There are a lot of interactions happening. Just by moving your mouse, something is happening. Centralized networking protocols facilitate peer-to-peer communication, allowing nodes to interact directly without the need for a central server. So decentralized networks ensure that we could do really, really cool things without relying on a centralized server like a decentralized networks are just everywhere in the world, and everyone is able to contribute. So everyone is able to keep that that server running. This increases efficiency, improves stability, and reduces dependency on centralized entity. Again, what that means is if any single one of these entity fails, there are still multiple nodes spread across the world that will keep the server running. If the Amazon as a company fails, AWS is gone, right? Even though they have servers spread across the world, those servers are still owned by Amazon. Those servers are still owned by Amazon. If anything happens to Amazon, they would crash. And that is the con, if you will, of centralized services. And the centralized services fix that by quick intro. And now I'm going to show you how to deploy a site on FLEEK, build and deploy really make your really fast static website I'm sharing right now to the one you need to see. Okay, shall we do this? If I have any questions, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to respond to them. All right, so let's share this. All right, sweet. So I'm sure you can see this. The first thing you want to do when you are trying to build or deploy decentralized sites on FLEEK, you head over to app.fleek.xyz right here on your browser. This is the old one, app. So app.fleek.xyz brings you to the dashboard, and you can do a bunch you currently have. You can go to settings and just like move a few things together. So we will be creating to hit the ground running. The first thing you want to do when you get into the FLEEK dashboard is to create a new project, right? So right here, we're going to create a new project and we're going to say deploy my site. There are a few ways you could deploy a GitHub or you could deploy from the CLI. We will be using the GitHub method.
Okay. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, observation. I think the new link is not out. You just
okay, for the Zoom link, right? I think the admin is going to get that to the community somehow. I'm sure they're working on that. But yeah, thank you for pointing that. I'm sure they'll get that out. Yeah, see a few people joining in. All right, so we're going to click on the deploy my site project. We head over here, top left, click on the drop down and create a new project. I'll call this chain safe. No, actually, Code Africa FLEEK. All right. It's going to check for the availability of that name, and once it's available, we're going to save that. And again, we're going to click on deploy my site. It's going to ask us to use GitHub, which is what we're going to use. And from here, you're just going to accept a few things to install or set up GitHub on your computer. Now I'm going to go over the two-factor authentication that GitHub typically requests for. Somehow my device refuses to function. Okay, I'm experiencing my own very little technical issues at the moment. I just need to pull up my authenticator to solve this. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm just going to get that and paste that here. Okay, now when you get into your GitHub, it's going to bring you to like a list of repositories. It's going to ask you which repository do you want to deploy as your website. We're going to come here and search. So the one that went over to my GitHub, I have forked that repository and it is code Africa FLEEK. I'm going to come back to FLEEK and not here. I'm going to come back here. Once I've selected that repository, obviously you can see there are other repositories that I have given access to. I'm going to save that and I will be redirected back to FLEEK in a moment. Please close this tab, close. And this page will reload. And once it's done reloading, it's going to show me the repository I just imported into FLEEK, and then I can begin to carry out the deployment. I'm just going to go ahead and reload this to be sure everything is looking good. All right, GitHub. All right, cool. So now you can see my profile and we can see the repository we just like imported into FLEEK. I'm going to click on deploy. By default, it's going to detect which JavaScript library this is. You can see that it is a React app. Publish directories, build, main, everything looks good. If you were running or building a NEXTJS app, again, the framework will automatically detect that it is NEXTJS and everything else will just work as it should. If you have an environment as well, I'm going to go ahead and click on deploy website. And so it's going to bring us to this page, which will take a minute. It's building out our app, and then it's going to go ahead and handle out the deployment. So while this is going on, I think now is a good time for a few things. One is I want to talk about a FLEEK deploy Lagos that we're going to be having in Lagos in a few weeks. The first weekend of May, we're going to be having a workshop where we're going to be walking you through the really cool things that you can do on the FLEEK protocol, the FLEEK platform. And it's going to be happening live in Lagos, Nigeria. And I will be sharing the link to the Luma in the chat so that you can register, you can sign up, and you can like be a part of that. And that being said, I can talk about the FLEEK network as well, which is the behemoth that is powering the FLEEK centralized edge network and decentralized edge compute. So we have decentralized infrastructure that is geo-aware. So this is like if you're trying to ping a server and the server only exists like in a particular location with geographical awareness, you are able to send that server and it's able to communicate. And so you don't need to send requests, 10,000 miles across the ocean. You can send a request and the closest server that exists, closest to you, will deliver that request and that response to you, and you're able to do really cool things. We're currently working hard, getting testnet out and doing a bunch of stuff, a bunch of materials that are out in the public that you can read on if you want to get really nerdy about what we're doing. We're really just giving Web3 an edge: high performance, low latency, geo-aware. It is decentralized, it is cost competitive, and it is protocol agnostic. So, we're not like heavy on Ethereum, Arbitrum, and so on and so forth. It is protocol agnostic, and it gets the job done. So we're just going to go back here real quick and see what the status is of our project. It's still building. Will be done any moment now, but really, really cool tech that is going to be powering the next generation of decentralized application. And I'm excited about that. I think it is something that we should be on the lookout for. There are edge functions, there are blockchain snapshots, again, hosting. You can have a virtual machine that can handle a ZK EVM or an EVM, all from the FLEEK network. And all of this, it is fantastic and it is just mind-blowing. So you can visit the FLEEK.network to read the book publicly as well. And I encourage you to take a look at that. Secondly, again, it's talking about FLEEK deploy Lagos. I'm going to share the link to the Luma in the description and you can join that. All right, our site is live and we can visit it by clicking on this URL. All things considered, we should see Santiago deployed. Okay, so we have a bit of a technical issue that, the exact version, he probably didn't push that version. And, we're here with the bare bones React, but that's no problem. We're going to update that code on GitHub and he's going to make that available. And this step, the exact step I just followed, is going to work seamlessly, regardless of what you have going on. So here right now, there is a difference, there's a disparity between the GitHub code that is available and the actual modification that was made. So, but not to worry, the exact same process is the same. So when you import the code from GitHub, you follow the instruction on the FLEEK deploy page, you can seamlessly deploy your website and everything is going to function really, really well. So right here, we have our React app is live and you can see this is the URL. You can do a bunch of cool things. You can come and you can manage different deployments. You can check your audit logs, which is coming pretty soon. And analytics is also coming pretty soon as well, much better. Under settings, you can change your site name, you can change your slug. The slug is like the URL. You can change it to Code Africa. Again, it's going to check for the availability because these are random and a bunch of people could be using them already. If it is available, you will see that domain is available or slug is available, and you can go ahead and save that change. And if you want to add a custom domain, you can do that as well. I added my own personal website. I imported it to FLEEK, and I have my personal website on FLEEK, and the domain name works really well. It took about 5 minutes to completely propagate, which was really good. You can also add your ENS domain, which I think is the icing on the cake. My favorite feature so far is like you can have your ENS domain work directly with the FLEEK platform, and that is just really cool. And here we have the GitHub repository that is connected to this particular project, and we can visit that as well. So this is a quick overview on how to deploy your app, your app on a decentralized platform seamlessly with a few buttons. Everything is going to be fully functional. Again, like we talked earlier, currently we're only hosting static websites, nothing too dynamic. But in a few weeks from now, we're going to have full support for everything Next.js, which is like the entire dynamic Next.js experience that you would see on a hosting platform like Vercel, Cloudflare, and so on and so forth. We're going to have that, and you're going to enjoy ridiculously, cheap prices when you are like moving to a much higher tier, and just a much faster experience, a decentralized experience, and just really cool tech that you get to take your ideas to the world and build really cool stuff. So that is it from my end. I'm just going to round up with the last part of my slide. And let me just put that up. All right, so we went over decentralized deployment. I just told you about the benefits of deploying your website on a decentralized service. Decentralized network is permissionless, and all of this belongs to you. Decentralized storage, and your data is your data, and there's nothing as really cool as that. So yeah, so that is it. So I think this is the last part of my slide. That is it. So thank you everyone for coming in and joining us for this session. If you have any questions, please let us know. My slide is done. My version is done. It's really quick, really straightforward. Santiago has done the bulk of the work. The code will be made available on the channels, the community, so you can go ahead, you can fork the repository bones. I encourage you to make really good designs and shout us out and tweet at us at FleekXYZ and at me at Junior Sinka. And we, the FLEEK network, will shout you out, and you could win some swag from FLEEK as well. So I encourage you to actually put some effort into the current design and build something really cool. And you stand a chance to actually win something. We'll get that over to you anywhere you are in the world. So thank you for joining me on this session. My name is Jinka. These are my final remarks. Thanking the team from Code Africa as well. Thanks everyone for joining in. We look forward to really cool things that we get to do. Again, FLEEK Deploy Lagos is going to be happening on the 4th of May. I encourage you, if you are anywhere, if you're going to be in town, going to be in the city at that point in time, show up. I'll be around to host you, and we're going to have a really good time. Thank you for joining again, and I'll see you next time.